movies. Oh, yeah. What's going on, party people? Bobo here with BrassReel Brothers. Thanks for coming back for another episode of BrassReel Tonight, where we're going to be talking about some more stuff coming out in the news today. Still some Spider-Man stuff for sure, but we're not going to focus a whole episode on that. But we are going to tickle it a little bit. But we got all kind of stuff, especially about Cinemacon coming out. Cinemacon's going on right now. That's basically like the comic convention, but it's a cinema convention. So showing all kinds of screenings for movies that aren't even coming out for a few more months, screenings for movies that are coming out soon, all that stuff. Also leaking titles for things. So we're going to go over a ton of stuff. And also, again, joining me today, I got my buddy Maniac. What's up, man?
Hey, how we doing?
Good, man. Good to see you. Looking good, too. I like that poster in the background.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one.
So did you, real quick, did you piece that together with a bunch of, like, is that a bunch of pieces of paper from a magazine, or did you print those, or what is that?
They was meant to be on a canvas, and basically I have just put them together rather than putting them on canvases. So, yeah.
So they were little small pieces, and you put them all together in one?
Yeah, I've done it in one.
Nice, man. That's nice. Well, dude, thanks for joining me again today. I
love being here. I can't wait to, because this one, we've got some talking about one of my favorite franchises ever.
Oh, boy. I can't wait to talk about that That's awesome. I mean, dude, we got some franchises. I think a lot of our favorite franchises we're going to be talking about today, including the Spider-Man one. But like I said, I'm not going to focus on that like crazy. But real quick, if you guys can't tune into the live show or anything like that, remember, you can always send me comments later on to brassreelbobby@gmail.com. And if you can tune into the live show, feel free to send comments straight down to the live section right at the bottom. We'll always answer stuff, or I'll always answer stuff. Or if I can't do it now, I'll respond to it later on. But let's get moving. So yesterday, man, we talked about Spider-Man.
Yeah. What a trip.
About the trailer. Yeah. So are you still stoked, or what? Are you still pumped?
Yeah, it's non-stop today. Everybody's talking about it. It feels like it's just come out today. That's how fresh it is. People are talking about it everywhere.
Do you know what the Today Show is over here in America? Because for those that don't know and haven't watched Maniac before, he's in the UK, so it's a total different time right there. But
the Today Show's what's that?
It's just like a famous, like, so we have like our 4 major networks, and like NBC is one of them, and that's one of the biggest ones. And the Today Show is like their morning news show, but it's like it's covering everything from political stuff all the way to stuff in the entertainment. They'll have musical guests on. They are just covering everything. They've got stuff locally, but it's a national thing, and you got your anchors and everything like that. But yeah, when that's one of their major headlines on that show is talking about the No Way Home trailer.
Yeah,
you know, that
people are already doing memes of it. They've got the Rent guy from Spider-Man 2 putting it onto Alfred Molina's face. It's crazy what people are doing.
Oh, and we still have till December. So I mean, we've still got 4 or 5 more months of this.
Yeah, it's going to be a while. Well, it feels like it's going to be a long wait, because I can't wait for this.
Me either, man. And like I said, this is what I've been waiting for all summer, is to feel this way, and finally this has got me feeling this way.
Yeah.
So with that being said, right now there are a bunch of things up and roar about the villains in this movie and who the villains are going to be. Now, I think we're very sure that Goblin and Doc Ock are going to be in it, just because they're in the trailer, basically.
Yeah.
And I think Electro is in it for sure, because he's signed on, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody knew Jamie back in like a year ago, even they were talking about Jamie Foxx signing on, and Alfred Molina came like shortly after that. But as you were saying, all the memes and all that stuff going on right now, and just the fan speculations, the theories, everything is just, I love that stuff because it gets me excited. It gets me involved, and other people put ideas in my head that sometimes lead to something that's true, or even take me down a further rabbit hole that's not the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, it's brilliant.
So with these guys, this is our roster, I think, that we have to pick from, right?
Yeah.
And now this bottom goblin down here, the green goblin, the hairy green goblin, that just for some reason I couldn't. This is the best photos that I could find quickly of all the ones that we're dealing with. And this is pretty much all the villains he's ever dealt with in the comics or in the movies. Right?
I can't see him being in it. The one at the bottom.
I don't think he's in it at all. I think that we can definitely be sure that that dude is not going to be in it. And I think that Harry will come into play because Harry and Peter's relationship is extremely important in the comics. So I definitely think that'll be a deal, but I definitely don't think that we're going to see, I think we're going to see a Norman Osborn Goblin from the old school Spider-Man trilogy. But do you think we'll ever see a new MCU version of Goblin somehow? Or will that be Harry?
I think it should be Harry. Because if they're establishing it as Willem Dafoe's character and then they're going to start it all again.
But that's what I'm saying. He's a multiverse villain. So I don't know if he's going to remain. It might just be like to pop in for a second. I mean, it's obviously fan service, but
yeah, I think that's where it starts getting confusing, because if he comes in it from the Sam Raimi trilogy, if there's a Norman Osborn in Tom Holland's reality, Tom Holland's going to already know that Norman Osborn's going to become the Green Goblin. It wouldn't really make any sense.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I think Harry, further down the line, but I think Norman, probably not. That's my guess.
Okay, what about this? What if they just skipped over completely with Norman and Harry, because you have the Willem Dafoe character coming in from the other universe right now, and then you know they'll put him back, whatever. And because of that, what if they just completely skip over the Norman Osborn and Harry Osborn character and just go straight to the Hobgoblin? And like I said, maybe Flash Thompson trying to rip off what he saw, because everybody's going to see the Goblin, I guess, at some point and fight. So the MC universe sees a Green Goblin of some sort, but then he gets put back in his reality. And so what if they just go straight to Flash or somebody else trying to become the Hobgoblin? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I've watched a lot of videos today, and a lot of people have got the same theories as you, that Flash, that's how Flash is, with the blonde hair from the trailer. So is that deliberate that they're doing that, like completely changing everything about him?
I think they have something. Well, one, we were all kind of surprised that they cast that guy to be Flash to begin with, because Flash is a brute jock in the comics, like straight up. He's
like he is in the Spider-Man, the Raimi trailer.
Which, by the way, do you know that's Joe Manganiello?
Is that Deathstroke?
Yeah. That's Flash.
I didn't know that was it.
Yeah, rewatch it again and be like, holy shit, that is you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think that they just have something up with his character. Like they're going to do something with him. Like I said, the way they were doing with that End of Far From Home thing, I just feel like something's up with him. But now with the scenes that we got, like I said, Goblin and Doc Ock, they're in it. Now Venom is in the world right now in his own franchise, and they've pretty much, for the most part, and I'm pulling up something right here so I can try to bring this up and read it. At some point back in the day, here we go. Sony, this is on IGN. Sony has previously indicated there is actually a plan to connect Sony's Spider-Man universe to the MCU.
Yeah, well, it would make sense.
And then the Venom director, Ruben Fleischer, the guy, the first Venom, not the second Venom, he said Sony is building towards a confrontation between Tom Hardy's Venom and Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
I'm struggling with that, because he's a hero in Venom. Like, he's not a bad guy.
Yeah, he's that anti-hero, but Venom can take over. Venom can ultimately, basically Venom and Eddie Brock, their whole relationship is a mutual bargained agreement. You let me do this and I won't do this to you. But at any point, Venom can dominate. I think that Venom in the comics, does start working with Spider-Man in some sorts, but it's never because he's a good person. It's sort of because he's either he has to, or he's just not that evil and he's fighting something that's just way worse than him. But like, he never was somebody waking up in the morning being like, you know what? I've led a bad life and it's time to do good. That's just not Eddie Brock's character.
Yeah.
So I think it's plausible for them to fight at some point, but which brings me up to this right here. So this is something that I've tried to find it and look at it more and more and more and more. And I just can't really see what everybody's talking about. Is this Venom, as people are saying? And I just think that there's too much like red and everything. I think it's magic, right?
I don't think that's Venom. I mean, could they have kept that under wraps as well? Like, Nah, I don't think it's Venom. And if it is Venom, I don't think it'll be the Tom Hardy one, because he's got his own movie coming out where he's still a good guy fighting Carnage.
There you go. That's my thing. I would bet
Doesn't make any sense.
100% this isn't Venom. And here's the main reason why. They ain't gonna put Venom in the part 3 of this one and ruin it like they did the part 3 of Sam Raimi's.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like there's no way they're gonna go that route.
Yeah.
No way. Now, is this Electro and Sandman? Because a lot of people, you've seen a lot of shots with the electricity, and it seems like the sand is involved a lot in those shots. And another thing that I like about this, because I think it's pretty evident that Sandman is in this. But one of the other things that I really, really dig, and I'm going to see if I can try to bring this back up to where I had it yesterday, and just give me a second. But
okay.
I think that Sandman, like they're doing they're doing dirt. One of the things I didn't like about the Spider-Man one is it was like every time he was sand, he looked like beach sand.
Yeah, it was brilliantly clean. It was beautiful. Yeah.
Like this one, it looks like they're using like dirt and stuff. Like it actually looks like he can manipulate what is ever soil, whatever. You know what I mean? And in that turn, it makes him more powerful, in my opinion.
Yeah, because he could be denser. He could use, dangerous like rocks and things like that. He could be more than just the Sandman. And it would make sense that he would have like impurities inside him as he's gathering himself up.
Yes, very much so. I mean, that even, and if he had impurities and he had like spikes of, little pieces of wood and stuff like that. I mean, wouldn't that be
things like that?
Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't that be like awesome?
Yeah, more of like a horrifying one, but more realistic.
And that's what I want. I definitely want Sandman to be scary, because when we think about the Sandman, doom, 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 doo, 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 that whole idea. I mean, that's a scary thought of a character, in my opinion. That's always been creepy. So to name a character the Sandman, it needs to be a little bit more threatening, in my opinion. I'm about to show this picture right here, and this is the one that everybody is saying that they can see the lizard in. And look, I have the exact picture that they're talking about, and I'm sorry, I just don't see it. I've tried to make myself like, oh, there it is, but I just don't see it. So people are saying, so here's the picture, the electricity and like the dirt, like that looks like dirt. You know what I mean?
And like you said yesterday, it looks like he's protecting him.
It does. It looks like it's like a wall coming up in front of him or something. Now, people saying that the lizard is in this shot behind Spider-Man.
Nowhere.
I don't see it. I don't see it at all. I'm not saying that the lizard isn't in this movie.
No.
But I don't think that that's him there. Now watch this. I'll be proven wrong, but they're saying he's right behind him somewhere. And I've watched this so many times and I just don't see it. So
no, I don't see it either. I've seen this. It's been coming up in a lot of Facebook groups, people disputing it. I don't see the lizard at all. Not there. Not in that show.
And look, we could be wrong about all this, like all of them being in it. It could just be Electro, Doc Ock, and Goblin, and maybe the electricity is just stirring up stuff around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it can only be those three. I mean, it could, whatever. I think it's going to be a little more than that, just because I think that they're wanting to really have some fun with this while making it still quality, because they're not going to do a crap movie and a crap plot line with this is their number one character. This is the MCU's number one character. Even though Disney doesn't technically own it, this is their number one character.
Yeah. And if they want to do deals with Sony again, like they've got to make it right. Do you know what I mean?
I agree. And they are now. Like, and Sony and Disney, like where we are now to where we were 2-3 years ago, it's so opposite than what it was as far as aggravation and tense and all. Now they're like buddies. Like we realize that we need to do it this way. This is how it should be. So let's just embrace it, which is great. Now, this is the other thing, this picture right here. I think that maybe more than anything that a lot of this weird stuff is still maybe. I think it may be because of this guy personally.
Mysterio.
I don't know if, I don't think he's gone. He's too much of a Spider-Man villain and too much of a fan fave for him to be just in and out of one film, because they didn't kill Vulture. He just went to jail.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's still around, and if Mysterio would be around, like that's the whole thing with Spider-Man in the comics. The reason the Sinister Six exists is half the reason is because he never killed them. You know, Spider-Man doesn't kill, so it's just like they're still alive. Finally, they're like, we're gonna get this bastard once and for all and team up.
So do you think maybe he's a variant? Like he's coming from a different multiverse?
Well,
Or he's the same one?
he already faked the multiverse in Far From Home.
Yeah.
And remember when he said he's like, your Earth is Earth 616. That's verbatim from the comics, because the Earth, the main Earth in the comics is Earth 616. So they're dealing with all the stuff. They're trying to have fun with it all. I don't think he's gone. I'm not saying he's in the movie, but I just have a feeling that something's going on with this. And one of the reasons I'm saying this is because his whole thing is misdirection. And I'm not saying he's responsible for like the multiverse thing happening, but I'm not unsure that he didn't predict what Peter was going to do with Doctor Strange and then like playing into his plan. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, I don't get that. I don't get that from Far From Home, from Jake Gyllenhaal's character at all.
Well, that's just what Quentin Beck's character is in the comics. Again, a lot of this I'm referring to the nature of the character's origin.
Yeah. I mean, if this is his master plan, brilliant, because then for me, he'll improve as a villain. I thought he was a bit of a weak villain in Far From Home, personally. I'd like to see him more sinister, a hell of a lot, especially working with the rest of them.
Well, one of the things about him in the comics is that he was sort of like he did a lot of destruction and he caused a lot of problems, but he was a wannabe villain. Like he was never like Green Goblin, because Green Goblin, Norman, was crazy. And then Norman also physically started becoming this monster. And Quentin, his whole thing in his past and part of his character is he's a little bit of a wuss. He's a little bit of a poser. That's why he does the whole illusion thing. And then because a lot of times, again, in the comics, when Spider-Man finally gets his hands on him, he's like, please, 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 no, don't hurt me. Like he's kind of a tech nerd goober type of guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I got that vibe from him. Yeah.
And they played into that a little bit in the comics. I mean, in the movie for sure. I'd like to see him still think and be trying that he's something bigger than he actually is in this movie, and then maybe almost accidentally cause something that's out of his control now. And he you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you started a fire that you can't put out.
The fact that you said he mentioned 616 and that is actually the Earth, like he must have some knowledge of the multiverse. Should he not?
Or was that just fan service for the fans? Was that just to tickle us, you know?
It could be, but yeah, I think that they could tie it in then. They could tie it in, bring him back for this one.
So, I mean, ultimately, I'm thinking Mysterio is in this somewhere, and I'm thinking we know that the past Goblin and a past Doc Ock is in this, and a past Electro is in this. I'm really hoping that Vulture somehow or another comes back into play. As far as the Sandman, if he is in this, I definitely am with you. I don't want it to be Thomas Hayden Church. I think he's a good actor, and I think he's got the look. He looks like Flint, but as far as the way he portrayed the character is just not at all what I was wanting. And you and I talked about that. We don't agree. Michael Keaton was badass as Adrian Toomes. He made Adrian
brilliant. He's brilliant. Like that scene in the first one where he's in the car with him.
I lost you.
It's just brilliant. Like you feel the fear in Peter. And
hey, I'm losing you, man. You're cutting out. I'm sorry about that.
Right. Okay.
That's the first time it's done it this whole string. But that's all right.
Can you see?
But you're talking about when he was in the car and just that sinister moment of him looking at Peter in the car and the rear view mirror thing. And it gets really dark for a moment. Yeah,
it gets really dark. And Michael Keaton's good at dark. Like he can switch it up. He can be a nice guy and he can be so evil. Like he's such a good actor.
Oh, he's one of the greats, man. He's definitely one of the greats. And he can be funny too. He definitely has all the characteristics. And from what I understand, and we're going to get to this, and actually we're not going to get to that one because I forgot what movie we're talking about, but he definitely has what it takes to still be Batman. And everybody that's seen him on set and everything, it was just like he just jumped right back into it. Like it's like he didn't miss a day for being Bruce Wayne, which that's really exciting to me. But what I was going to say about him as Adrian Toomes is the Vulture, is he definitely took that character to something bigger, because the Vulture in the comic books is an older guy. He's an older man that relies on the technology of the wings and all that stuff. And his power is that he can like levitate, but he can't really move. So he creates the wings so he can move around. But obviously they just went the human route in this, which I like. I'm glad they did.
To translate it into film, you have to change some things to make it realistic.
And they made him sort of an angry little jerk that's fed up with his company and everything. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't really a bad guy, but he kind of was. And then he just fully went bad, finally decided to. And the fact that they made him more of a brute just works for that character. And I loved that. And I want to see him back.
I do. Yeah, I do.
So question is, for anybody watching, what do you guys think? You think they're going to bring all those characters back? Is Mysterio back? Is Vulture coming back? Are we going to see the Lizard? Do any of y'all think Venom's going to be in it? I don't think you do either as Maniac.
No, I don't. And I don't think Rhino will be in it.
No, you know, it's funny. This is a sad thing that's not sad. This just goes to show you. I just was looking this up. I was like, this is all the only type of villain Spider-Man's fault. And I was like, wait a minute. Rhino is in here and we didn't even think about him. That's how insignificant Rhino is.
Yeah. At this present time, nah, I don't think so.
No, they don't need to. They should leave him in the video games. You know what I mean? Yeah. As an extra character to fight in the video games. So since we were talking about Venom, let's talk about this. I don't know if you are aware, but it might be delayed. 2022 now. It was delayed for a month, like as of a few days ago. They had said, we're going to push it back a month. But now, and you know what this means? This just goes to show you that Venom or Sony, they don't have a whole lot that they can bank on. They can't afford to release their movies. They can't afford to release their movies unless there's an audience. Whereas Disney can kind of chance it a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yep, they can do. I thought exactly the same thing. They're banking on this one, and I don't blame them at all. I think waiting a few extra months to get the full experience of it, because if they just put this on some sort of streaming, I know Sony doesn't have one, do they? I don't think they do.
No, they don't. All their stuff is licensed out.
Yeah, so yeah, you can understand why they want to get maximum profits from this. So
definitely, because I've said it before, right? The other thing they have coming out is Ghostbusters. So that's Sony, but literally Sony has Spider-Man, Ghostbusters, Jumanji. And they have big money for them, though. It is, but that's all their money. Like they have smaller stuff in here. And mind you, I'm talking about their film division. I'm not talking about PlayStation. PlayStation, they're making gobs of money. I'm talking about their film division has always struggled. And a lot of people might not know this, but like you remember Columbia TriStar?
Yeah.
That's Sony now. Sony basically bought that to try to play ball in the film industry, kind of the way that Amazon bought MGM.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get in it. And, so Sony was Spider-Man back in the day. That's the only reason they made Amazing Spider-Man, is because they were going to lose the rights back to Marvel if they didn't make a film. They have to do it like every certain amount of time. If they don't, then they're just like, if you're not using it, it comes back to us. And so that's why they kept doing that. Anyways.
Yeah, it's the same with X-Men, wasn't it? With Fox.
Yeah. Well, and with
X-Men and Fox have the same problem,
Yeah, any of those properties, Fantastic Four was the same thing. Any of those properties that were originally Marvel properties, all of them had to consistently make stuff or they were going to lose it.
Yeah. Do you think Ghostbusters is going to be pushed back? Because it says Thanksgiving, doesn't it?
Yeah, and they've actually, I don't think it's going to be pushed back because they just did some screenings at Cinemacon. And it was really well received, and that is kind of a family movie. And to be coming around the Thanksgiving time, right before the holidays, I think they have to release that. Yeah, if they don't want people to lose the interest, because at some point, I mean, all these movies are already all pushed back a year. You know what I mean? Except for No Way Home. No Way Home, they actually filmed it and they're able to get it out slightly on the schedule they wanted. But other than that, like again, Venom, I mean, who knows? And just to stay on Venom just for 1 second, I am really excited to see what's up with Carnage, because I mean, Carnage looks nasty like he's supposed to look. He looks more demonic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
And so I'm excited to see it. I think Woody Harrelson's a great actor. But now that they're putting this out after No Way Home, possibly, that makes me think that they're definitely not connecting the two characters right now. Because if they were, it would matter which one came out first, right?
Exactly. That's why I just don't think he's going to be one of the Sinister Six.
No, not now. Maybe in the future, but not now.
Yeah.
Well, what do you guys think? Do you think that he's going to be, you know, connecting this movie or not now that it's switched around? I don't think it is. Do y'all think it's going to get switched back? Because this isn't for sure yet. The delay isn't for sure, but they're saying it's most likely that it is. And I think a lot of that has to do with Halloween coming out. I mean, dude, the way they're marketing Halloween Kills, and as much as people love 2018 Halloween, I'm not saying that they would go see it over Venom 100%, but I know I would.
We know that I wouldn't.
There you go.
But if it's coming out and they know they've got a schedule of movies that are coming out that it's going to go against, why not release it in January, where there'll be a little bit of aftermath of Spider-Man No Way Home, and then maybe February time, you know, where there's nothing coming out, because most films don't really get released. But
the films that are starting to, big movies that are starting to get released though now in February and January and stuff like that, are superhero movies. So like Black Panther was in February, obviously, because it was Black, you know, Celebration Month, but it was also like Doctor Strange 2 is coming out in February.
Oh, so he's got a window of January then.
January, I think, is your only moment, and January is usually where movies go to die, you know, but maybe Venom will change that.
Well, maybe it'll get an Oscar, because you get a lot of movies coming out Oscar in January.
Yeah, well, it'll make it in time, you know, in time before the Oscars. Well, anyways, I just wanted to talk about that for a second and see if it's, you know, if we think it's really going to get delayed. And now to confirm, you and I agree that we don't think that it's going to all intertwine with No Way Home, just because of the way they're flip-flopping releases.
Yeah, no, I don't believe so.
So that was talked about at Comic-Con a little bit, but here's some of the main stuff. Excuse me, not Comic-Con, Cinemacon. I'm going to do that the entire time. But they talked about a lot of stuff. Cinemacon is definitely where you get to see a lot of new stuff that's not coming out for a while, or like I said, coming out here in just for a minute. But we definitely got The Matrix 4 is one of the big things right now, and they just released the title.
Is that a legitimate picture?
No.
Okay.
No, that's too. They ain't gonna give you no facial hair in The Matrix. I mean, they might, but I don't see that happen. Did anybody have facial hair in the Matrix movies? Like any characters at all?
I'm not sure.
It just does. It seems like a non-facial hair movie.
I mean, they must have had razors at the ready.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
This is not a poster, but it is being called The Matrix Resurrection. What do you think about that, first off, before we dig into it?
I'm not surprised by the title.
It's super. Everybody predicted it.
Yeah.
At least I know I did.
Cypher had a little beard. Cypher had a little beard, I think. Did he?
Yeah, I think maybe he did have a little bit of a soul patch.
Yeah. That's all I can think of at the moment with a beard.
Yeah, that's funny you went back to.
As far for the title, yeah, everybody's predicted it. When I saw it tonight, I thought, well, isn't that?
I lost you again. I lost you again, buddy.
It flows. It makes sense. Oh, every time. What about now?
Yeah, you're okay now. You say something?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, just lost you for a little bit. But the title, yeah, no bueno. Everybody knew that it was going to be called that. It's not, and that's already, to me, that's the first sign of this movie not maybe being so good. Like, I gotta say, I'm just not.
I have not
excited about it.
No.
Now, am I going to see it on the first day? Of course. yes, I'm going to watch it. I'm curious to see if it's going to be good. I want it to be good. And it's like the difference of us going to see No Way Home. Us going to see No Way Home, it's not a matter of that movie going to be good or enjoyable. It's just going to be how much we love it or how much we thought it was just whatever. This one, I'm like, I am really, my main goal about watching this movie is to see if it's going to be any good. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a good thing. It's like, why? There was no reason to make the second one, third one. There's definitely no reason to make this one.
I just don't see where it's going to go with it. I'm worried for it, if I'm honest. I think it's going to destroy the legacy of the Matrix.
So I can tell you right now, and I've got it kind of pulled up a little bit of the deal. It's starting off with them having amnesia.
I'm already bored. I'm already bored. Like, you don't release a film like 20 years later or however many years later, and no.
Yeah, dude. The Warner Brothers reveals that Neo and Trinity return with amnesia. And that is not a joke. That is specifically from the article off of Variety, actually. That came straight from Variety. Variety saying that it's true. They don't report anything crappy. So look, I mean, it is going to focus around them two. And it's not going to be anything involving Morpheus, which that's kind of, it sucks, but at the same time, I mean, I think Lawrence Fishburne is done being in shape. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, he's got so many other roles as well. Like
he don't want to work hard on that like that anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about Carrie Ann Moss returning? I mean, are you again?
I've just, like I say, I've got no buzz for it. I don't know what other story they can tell with this. Like, it was pretty much closed and done by the end of the third one.
To me, it was done by the first one.
Well, yeah, the first one, it was perfect. The second and third one just progressively worse. Like, I just don't understand how people like those ones. But the first one is a masterpiece. There's nothing better. Like, it reinvented cinema.
It's a truly a badass film, no question. And the only thing I like about the second and third one is it's like, again, it's one of those movies that put it on, turn the sound off, and turn on your favorite music and just watch the fight scenes. Like, to me,
it's like a big music video.
Yeah, that is cool. And you can't deny that stuff is impressive, but that doesn't make it a good film, you know, because the story and all that is all a part of the film. A film is a package. And if it is missing certain parts of the package, then it ain't complete. And 2 and 3 were missing a lot of parts of that package.
Yeah, and like the fact that not both of the directors are coming back, that raises alarm bells.
It does. And again, that person, because I don't know what they are now, what it is, but if it's Lana Wachowski, they're not doing anything else, are they? Like, when people come back to do something because it was their claim to fame and then they've not done anything and then they come back, it's like that never turns out well. The only time that's ever worked, in my opinion, is when George Miller did Mad Max Fury Road.
Yes.
That's the only time that's ever worked.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And he made it epic. But other than that, when people are like, oh, I'm coming back for the final, it's like, look what happened with Indiana Jones. Boo.
But George Miller, he took a risk and put Tom Hardy in Mel Gibson's place. And it worked because it was more of like a reboot-ish sort of thing, a standalone story. And it worked. Even though with The Matrix, they could have gone a different direction and got a new cast. But no, they want Keanu Reeves back as an older man.
And it's all because of John Wick. If John Wick wouldn't be popular, this movie wouldn't be coming out, I don't think.
Really?
That's my opinion. I just think because now that because John Wick has a huge fan base, man.
Yeah. Is it like bigger than Taken? Because that is similar, isn't
it? Well, similar on paper, maybe, but the styles of the films are nothing alike.
Right.
Taken has some cool fight stuff. Taken has way more heart. Taken has some moments where it's like you get kind of sad, and you got sad in the first one over the dog and everything over Keanu Reeves' character. But after that, the second and third one, they just it became more it became more Matrixy.
Yeah, I get you.
It's like what they did with
how many people can you kill?
Right. It's like what they did with Matrix 2 and 3. It's like y'all went a direction that nobody was really interested in. It's kind of the third one, people like it enough because they're more self-aware of it. And so it's kind of like Aquaman. They just let's just go for it, making this crazy badass. And I think people can relate to that in a sense more than they could the second two Matrices, where they were trying to bring in all this philosophy and shit and
God, and you start bringing religion into it, and it's like not for me.
It was too much, man. You're playing in two different pools that you need to choose one side there.
Yeah.
Like, cause that's what's cool about the Blade Runner movies is the Blade Runner movies don't try to be uber action flicks. They try to be more these thought-provoking set pieces that really allow you to really sit down. It's like, okay, what if there was?
Yeah, it brings you into their world, and it's both of the Blade Runner movies are completely different storylines, but it's somehow it works.
They do, and they're both visually enthralling. Whereas the Matrix, it's like it's visually kind of cool, but then everything else just is like, wait, but you're wanting me, it's all techno-y and all that. And anyways, so
Matrix, will it work with are they going to be using cell phones like they did in the other one?
Right.
Is it all? Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I mean, what's it going to be on? Like, because while that was cool and while the Matrix 1 is awesome, it's extremely dated.
100% dated. Yeah. I don't know what direction they're going to go in with this. Are they trying to? Because it was all about wearing the shades, the long jackets, like you said, the mobile phones. What have they got up their sleeve for this one? It's not like, say, for instance, James Cameron is bringing out the sequel to Avatar, and he's going to bring something new to the table. I'm pretty certain he will be a new filming format or something.
That's his whole thing. That's what he does with movies. That's what he wants to do. He never wants to repeat himself. And with this one, like you said, I mean, are they going to have watches, or is it just going to be are they just going to tap their ear now? Or,
we've had everything. We've had it all in our reality to the point where there's nothing.
We're way past what they had in the Matrix.
Tony Stark's got better things than the guys in the Matrix. So we've seen it all. We've seen it all in Minority Report, the pulling of the screens and all this. We've seen all that. So what have they got?
And we're doing that.
Something.
We're actually doing that depending on what devices you have. I mean, now there are certain, things that you can move this way, like literally on my Kinect, on my Xbox, I can literally scroll through my screen like that.
See, there you go.
With my hand. So I don't know how far in advance they can make this again. And this movie was sort of a commentary on the just society in general, and sort of a foreshadowing into, hey, if we're not careful, this is what could go down. Obviously an exaggerated picture of what could go down, but they've lost that. And to me, that was what was so cool about the first one. This one coming out is a moneymaker. It's a cash grab. And I think it's going to even dilute an already diluted franchise.
I agree.
What do you guys think? Do y'all think this is going to be something that we're going to be talking about? Is it going to spawn a 5 and a 6? Or is it just going to shut it down completely and being like, all right, that's it? Because look, we thought Indiana Jones was going to shut it down completely, but nope, they're making another one.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about that when I was walking my dog. I was like, man, James Mangold is a fantastic director, but
he's really good.
But you're only as good as your content. You're only as good as your content, man. And you got to impress me with something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, moving on now to some stuff that I'm much more hopeful for and much more excited about. The Batman.
You got some news on this?
So at Cinemacon, they just showed a bunch of stuff. And not only that, basically they did a sizzle reel. So you remember, when they first showed the Suicide Squad trailer, the first trailer wasn't really even a trailer. It was like a behind the scenes sizzle reel. And you were seeing all these cool set photos of things exploding and blowing up and people in costume and all that. It was getting you pumped up. This was the same thing, except not behind the scenes. This was a sizzle reel of highlights of the movie throughout. You see a lot of shots of the Colin Farrell, apparently. You get to see a lot of
the Penguin.
He is. You get to see a lot of Commissioner Gordon. You get to see a lot of Catwoman, from what I understand. And they're hyping the movie up. They're really excited about it. But the reviews in general have come out basically saying that it's way darker than you were expecting. and it does have
Good.
a grit to it that we haven't seen yet in the Batman movies. Even in the Nolan movies, whatever grit that was, this is grittier.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. People say Batman is a dark character. I want to see him in a dark world, where he belongs. Like if you start bringing him into daylight, which I think they went wrong with Dark Knight Rises. Personally, I want to see that. The less you see of him, the more you fear.
I'm with you. I mean, that didn't ruin Rises for me, but it is something that I wish they would have just kept him at night.
Yeah.
Who's not going to see a dude dressed in bat with a cape and all in black and with horns in the middle of a city that's all white and snow? While there's some cool imagery to that, it's not practical for Batman's character.
No, he can't disappear. He can't hide. It just doesn't really. It's not what Batman's about. Like, not the Batman I love, anyway.
No, and that's the Batman we all love. And I think immediately from this right here, we're seeing darkness, grit, maybe some terror involved. This doesn't, because when you saw Christopher Nolan's logos for his movies, they were Christopher Nolan-ish. You know what I'm saying? They had a very polished look to them because Nolan is a polished director.
Yeah.
So, or they had something very cool, like with the second one, it was like the bat symbol sort of being shattered and all this stuff. And then the third one, or excuse me, the bat symbol was on fire. And then the third one, the bat symbol's like being shattered into pieces. And because there's a lot of cool artistry going on to all of that connecting within the film. Whereas this one right here, it's like dun dun. You know what I mean?
Somebody has said that it's actually the gun that killed his parents. Is that right? On his emblem.
That's the what they're saying. So right here is that's supposed to be. Let me see if I can do something real quick right there. You see that?
Yeah.
So that's supposed to be the handle of the gun that he's reshaped. So like he's cut the handle in half. See how there's a clip on the bottom in the middle? There's like these clips connecting. So apparently that's why it looks like that, because it's like the reminder to never forget for him, which I mean, that's pretty dope if you ask me.
Yeah, it's genius. It's genius. It's a lot better than the bright yellow symbol.
Yeah. I mean, the bright yellow symbol worked for Tim Burton's world. It did. And I think that it works for certain parts of the comics, but even in the comic books for the longest time now, for the past 20, 25 years, it's been the black bat on the gray suit. I mean, that's what it's been. Batman's never been black in the comics. That's just never been his thing. He's never been black. He's always been dark gray with the black bat or sort of a bluish, blackish cape with a blue, you know what I mean? Or a little bit, the yellow was the thing, but that was more in the 80s. In the late 80s, Frank Miller changed all that with Dark Knight Returns. But this one, it looks like they're doing the gray, which I like.
Yeah, like a tactical suit again.
It's like it's charcoal, but like it looks black until you see his cape, and then you're like, that's black.
Yeah, I'm interested in what he can do with this character. I mean, I do wish they would have waited a little bit, just a little bit like you do. But after seeing the trailer and seeing him smash that guy, I want to see more. I just want to see more of this. Can he pull it off? Do you believe he can?
Hell yes. I definitely think he can, because I think Robert Pattinson is a fantastic actor. I like him. Say what you will about him because he was in Twilight. Everybody's got their movies that are bad that they need to get started on, whatever. And if you're a good actor, you work your way out of that. You know what I mean? And him and Kristen Stewart both have, in my opinion. I think they're both great actors. But I really do think Pattinson is awesome, especially in The Lighthouse. That really showed some of the craziness. Or there's another one that's called Good Times. Have you ever seen that?
No, I've not seen that. I've seen him in a film called Remember Me, which was to do with the Twin Towers, I believe.
Oh, I never heard of that.
Yeah, I think it was straight after Twilight.
That makes sense. It's around the time they were starting to release those movies, about the Twin Towers or the two towers. Well, he's the Good Times when he plays a drug addict and he's taking care of like his mentally challenged brother all the time. I mean, it's a grueling and emotional performance. It's like one of those, like, did you ever see The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith?
Yeah. It stretches his acting ability.
Oh, hardcore. I mean, if you don't think and know that he's a good actor after that movie, then you're just you don't know what good acting is. You know what I mean?
I didn't like him in Tenet, but I just didn't like the movie.
I thought he was cool enough in Tenet, but nobody was. Who did you like in Tenet? You know what I mean?
Nobody.
It's like, what was that movie about? What were we watching? What were we supposed to feel? I mean, I can't hear half the things you're saying. Like all that. That movie was just definitely. I mean, I don't know between Dunkirk and Tenet which one I dislike more, but those two are definitely like the black sheep Nolan films for me.
Yeah, the only way is up for him now, I believe, because them two for me, they just didn't work. I think he needs to make a regular film where he stops trying to be so clever.
Stop trying to mess with you so much. Because was Tenet his last one? I mean, excuse me, was Dunkirk his last one before Tenet? Or was
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. Was it? What else has he done?
I'm just trying to think. Sometimes I get them out of order. He did Dark Knight Rises, and then he did
Interstellar straight away.
Interstellar. So Dunkirk was before Interstellar or after Interstellar.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, he definitely has had two that are just kind of, and you know, he's all mad at Warner Brothers now because his company, Legendary Pictures, they're releasing all these things to HBO Max, and that's not Legendary Pictures is the one that funds 75% of these films to be made.
Yeah.
They're like Godzilla versus Kong, all that shit. That's all Legendary. That's partially that's he's part of his production company. So all the Dark Knight films was Legendary Pictures. Man of Steel was Legendary Pictures. That's all him. And
it does happen to some of the best directors, like Quentin Tarantino. You know, you'll have a pinnacle, and then you start to go down as a director. A lot of people
but he's
never made
He's never made a bad movie though. Like Hateful Eight, I still think is really fun, and it's one of his situational movies. It's kind of like his Reservoir Dogs, but in a Western format.
Yeah,
I like that because that movie's everybody's a piece of shit. You don't like anybody in the movie, but I think that one's way more watchable than Dunkirk and way more watchable than Tenet. Like Tenet, it's like I don't know if I want to watch that again. Like I feel like it'd
definitely
be
not.
You know?
Yeah. I was trying to get to sleep watching it, and it was out the corner of my house. What the hell is going on in this movie? Like I have no idea, and I still didn't towards the end. It was just, and it didn't make me want to rewatch it. It was painful. It was painful to watch.
And it's visually, I could see that they'd spent some time on some things, and I can appreciate that. And I love a good, I love good camera work. I think that's amazing. Anything that's an artistic, well put together shot in a film, I can appreciate. But it's only so good as the story, you know, like it doesn't mean anything unless you got something that's really intriguing, and that just it's too much. It treated the audience like that we were idiots or something. Like
it just didn't work. It didn't pay off.
So, anyways, back to Batman. Because Nolan and all that stuff, he was polished and everything, and I'm just glad that this has got that gritty look. I think that he looks like the Batman that I'm used to seeing in the comics. He's looking like he has to struggle a little, but he also looks like he's determined. I don't want things to be necessarily easy for him all the time. I don't want it to be like Spider-Man. I want it to be, it's practical, you know?
Yeah. Although, I've warmed to Ben Affleck as Batman. He had everything readily available, a gadget for this, a gadget for that. I want him to be more of a detective as well.
Yes, and they are going for that big time. They're doing the detective stuff in this, which they tried to incorporate a little bit in the Man of Steel, in Batman versus Superman, with him like falling around and doing the detective work about all the metahumans and all that. But they kind of lost it in Justice League.
No.
I definitely, part of why Batman is so badass is because you can't outsmart him.
Exactly. And it needs to be shown.
I agree. Now, with the other gritty, realistic level, I'm wondering what you think about this. What do you feel about the car?
Brilliant.
Yeah, it looks pretty dope.
That's a realistic looking car.
Well, it is. And I actually didn't mind the Tumbler because that was a real car that they actually built. You can watch the whole behind the scenes of that on Batman Begins, and it's a working.
They're my two favorite Batmobiles. Like I love the Tumbler because it was realistic. But when you start putting lights on it and silly things like that, like the Batman Forever one. I love the Batman Forever one at the time, but you look back and you think, the Tim Burton one still holds up.
And the Tim Burton one definitely holds up, but then you got the Batman and Robin one, which is even worse, where he's like sitting in the middle and it's just completely open. Like, that's what Batman does. He rides with an open top.
Yeah, with no extra seats. Like it doesn't make any sense. It's just a solo seat.
This one looks cool because what I'm really happy about with this one is it looks like it's something that can get him to point A to point B fast as he needs to get. You know what I mean? And that's sort of like what Batman is. The Batmobile kind of always started out to be. It was his transportation. It was where he also could beat people and just like boom, 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 really get you there. And like right now they're going for the muscle car look for sure. And that little,
it's got that realism touch to it.
Yeah, man, it does. And look, I mean, look at Batman in the back there, dude. Oh, how cool does he look?
He's looking good.
Yeah, man. So I'm
loving the lights on the back as well. That looks great.
I agree. And so they're going with that red kind of just horror-ish tone in a weird way, in my opinion. So everybody's saying that just the darkness is there, the grittiness is there, and not only is Pattinson good, but everybody else in the movie, Commissioner Gordon.
You've got a stellar cast.
Alfred.
Who's Alfred again in this one?
Andy Serkis.
Oh yeah, great. Do you know what I mean? Like I can imagine him as Alfred.
Well, what's funny is that Matt Reeves went up to, because Matt Reeves and Andy Serkis, their relationship is from the Planet of the Apes movies, because Andy Serkis did all the stuff for Caesar and all that.
Does it for everybody, doesn't he?
He's the king of it. He's the king of motion capture. Well, he's actually good at mimicking people's movements and stuff, like Gollum. That was all him. Yeah. That's just him painted over. King Kong and Peter Jackson's King Kong, that he was the ape. He was King Kong. But Matt Reeves went to him and said, "Hey, I want you to be Penguin." He's like, he said, "You can have any role you want, obviously within reason. You're not Batman, but he's like, you can have any role you want, but I really want you to be Penguin." And Andy Serkis is like, "I actually really want a shot at being Alfred." And he's like, "Okay, you can have it." And that's how it happened.
Really?
Yeah. So he begged him. He said, I want you in the movie and I want you to be Penguin, but if I can't have you as Penguin, I just want you can choose a role." And he's like, "I really want Alfred." And so to me, that has me excited that that's what the actor chose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think because of how well Michael Caine brought Alfred to life, why wouldn't you want to be Alfred? Because I think Michael Caine was fantastic as Alfred.
He was a great Alfred. He was more to what Alfred is. It truly originally in the comics. But I also liked their portrayal of Alfred in the Snyder's world as Jeremy Irons, how he was more of like his assistant and like a handyman and like fixed all this shit. I liked them both. I like both portrayals.
Yeah. I'd say Michael Caine outshined him in a more like emotional level.
He was more of a father figure.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, anyways, the Batman, I'm stoked. What about you guys?
When's that out?
I think that was not till next year. I think, because I think they're just now wrapping filming that.
Right.
It's definitely. I'm almost positive it's not this year. I could find out the date of it real quick. In fact, let me do that. I know. I mean, obviously, this movie was pushed back because of COVID as far as the filming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it's next year. Here we go. Yeah, March 4th, 2022. So that's the month of my birthday.
Yeah.
So man, that's
if it comes out on time.
If it comes out on time, yeah. But again, I think they just now wrapped it and they're in post-production right now. So let's just hope to it. And I think it'll be good. It's just a matter of how good.
Yeah.
Now, did you ever play the Uncharted series?
I haven't.
So they just released some pics of Tom Holland. And do you remember the Uncharted series at all?
Yep.
So they just released this at Cinemacon.
Yeah, that looks all right.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Pretty much looks like him. And then I don't know if there was a character in there and I can't remember his name, but Nathan Drake's like mentor is this guy with a mustache in the comic or in the game. And Mark Wahlberg is playing him. And Mark Wahlberg was initially supposed to play Nathan Drake, but things changed and they said, no, we want Tom Holland instead. And again, that's a Sony production because it's a Sony game. So here's Mark Wahlberg as his mentor.
I love Mark Wahlberg. I absolutely adore him. Like he's done some amazing films.
See, I adore him, but do you agree with me? He can only play one character. I think he's good at that character, but like Keanu Reeves, you can only play one character.
Yes, he is the same in everything that he does. He's always a little bit clueless,
but he's super likable. I mean, I love him.
there's just some. Yeah, as a villain, I would never cast him as a villain.
No, because he'd be like, "Come on, maybe you just want to come over and say hello to your mother for me." You know?
Yeah, even in Daddy's Home, like he's a villain in that kind of, and it's like he's so likable.
He's likable, but he's that guy that's that cool dude that when you were in high school that you wanted to be like because he was kind of a jerk, but he was cool at the same time. Yeah, I mean, it was perfect. Which I didn't like Daddy's Home too. That was terrible. But Daddy's Home, the first one was
Christmas
funny.
movie.
Yeah, well, it was they were all like all over the place getting hurt, and it was just so unrealistic. The first one was funny though.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, let's talk about one more thing because we're about to lose time here. So Ghostbusters. This is the big one that everybody's talking about at the Cinemacon right now. It has fully been screened. Now, whereas the Batman, there was only like a sizzle reel. Sorry. This has fully been screened, and people are basically saying that it's the best of the series.
Really?
Full of praise, like 100%. People are just like, everything you're wanting from it, it's there, it's got it. And I could see in a weird way with Jason Reitman directing it, how it could be the best in the series, because this is going to offer something that the Ghostbusters movie has never had. The Ghostbusters movie didn't have all that much style, if that makes any sense, in my opinion. They were 80s movies, and it had the fun humor. It had the characters you loved. But when you think of Ghostbusters, you don't think of stylish camera work. You don't think of cool, like, remember that moment when it was just so exciting and that it was moving fast and action, you know, like nothing like the Superman or Batmans that we saw at the time. It was awesome. It was just a lot of cool lasers and lights, and we saw ghosts in the air and things like that. You know what I mean?
If I'm honest, I think the second one suffered because even though it was the same director, it feels like it wasn't. And I think a lot of that was changing the music. Like it lost it's not the same composer, is it, in the second one?
You know, I'm not sure about the composer, but I do know that Ivan Reitman, everybody involved, says that the reason it looks so commercial is because they went commercial with it, straight up. They went toys like crazy with it. They were, you know what I mean? The music, like you said, they got people to do specific music for it outside of just the Ghostbusters theme. That was all this other big soundtrack stuff, and they just put something that had such a small guy heart mentality that became something big, then they made it too big for its britches, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I love the first one. I do love the second one as well.
Oh, I do too, but the first one's the best. Yeah. No, I mean, the second one's got great moments, like with Bill Murray, and they're like, just grab the toaster, and he grabs the toaster, and finally he's and he's like, the old man-eating toaster bit. That's my favorite when he says that.
I think where they messed up was like bringing the Statue of Liberty. That just replicated the Marshmallow Man somewhat. There's something big walking through the city. It was very much the same as the first one, but
they were doing it with that big Nintendo joystick. So you got your Nintendo commercial right there.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I love the movie for a lot of things. I think the plot itself was even cool with the painting and all that. I liked that. But it just, the first one was just lightning in a bottle, man. It just, everything about it works. I love the way it looks, even has a little bit more of that 80s gritty look to it, whereas the second one's a little more polished. Yeah.
And that's what I love about it. And like, I love the way it continues on into the credits as well. Do you know what I mean? And like, they're all.
Yeah, like the thing's still happening, and the camera's just widely panning out slowly, and you're just seeing all the stuff happening.
Yeah, like as a child, I believed it. I believed in ghosts because of this film. I didn't realize as a child that it was a comedy. I thought it was just a serious like film. Do you know what I mean?
No, for sure. Yeah, as a kid, Ghostbusters, when you hear about it, but by the time I was done watching it, I definitely knew it was funny, but it was still kind of scary in moments when I was a kid. Like,
with the Zool part, I used to be scared of it. There is no Dana, only Zool.
Or
you know what I mean? Like as a child.
How about Gozer?
Oh yeah. No, I was afraid of her, him, whatever that is.
So look, this shot right here on the left is Gozer from the original film, and then on the right, it's a shot from the new trailer.
So is Gozer coming back into it?
I don't know, but see how I've got this squared out right here?
Yeah. How do you know that's Gozer? What is that?
Well, I think, look at the hand. See how it's all sparkly, like the body, and it's like
Yeah.
there's claws and like little fingernails, and it just looks like it to me.
Yeah. Could be.
So I'm just hoping that it is. I'm just think it's going to. It's part 3. They got to tie it in somehow, you know. But we know that they're doing Spangler's daughter and Spangler's son, Finn Wolfhard, right there, and that all looks cool to me, man. I mean, I like that heart. I like they're in the middle of the country. They're obviously doing that cool thing. How about the fact that they got the ghost trap as a remote control like car now? That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that these kids are inventing this stuff, or it was stuff that Egon had already made?
I think it's like, from what I'm thinking and what it looks like, I think that this one right here, the girl, is like a real super techie nerd person that's really smart, and I think that she's sort of like finishing the lost stuff that he never got to finish or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Is anybody else cameoing in this from the originals?
Well, you saw the girl, you saw the redhead girl, right?
Janine.
Yeah, she's in it for a second. I don't think Rick Moranis is in it, but it would be awesome if he was. I don't think that
Ernie
Hudson is in it, but I would love for him to be in it. We know Dan's in it, and I'm pretty sure Bill's in it because Bill was seen on set. Now, again, I don't know anything about Ernie Hudson. I'm not saying that he's not. I just don't know. But Bill was seen on set multiple times.
Yeah, it would make sense for Bill to be in it. Ernie Hudson was always like the guy who just worked for them. Do you know what I mean?
And I liked him, and I liked his character and everything. But yeah, but he was more of their helper. He was somebody that believed them and wanted to help, and they were like, "Cool, thanks, join the party."
Yeah, he needed a job.
Yeah, whereas you know, Vateman, Spangler, all that stuff, those guys were the heart and soul of it. And I really want to see Bill Murray come back as he always wanted to come back as a ghost. Like, I think that would be awesome. I think having Bill Murray as a funny ghost, trying to help them, you know, there's just a lot you could do with that. His character's so sarcastic anyways. It's just all there. And I'm hoping that that's why we didn't even see him at all or hear his voice in the trailer like we heard Dan Aykroyd's, that maybe Dan's like the last one alive or something. You know what I mean? Like, who knows?
Could be, yeah. No, I'm excited for it, though.
Yeah, and that scene when it shows him coming out, though, like around the corner right here, and you hear their and they just roll that remote control ghost trap out. I mean, I'm getting chills thinking about it, man. It got me pumped up.
Yeah, it reminds me of being a kid. It was one of the biggest films for me as a child, Ghostbusters. Loved it.
So good, dude. And I still love it. I have it on Blu-ray and DVD, and that's probably one now with all this talking about it now. When we get done here in a second, I'll probably put it on the background while I'm posting to Facebook and to the socials.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, man. Well, hey, that's all I got for you guys. I had some more things I was going to kind of talk about. I'll just save it for tomorrow. And thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thank you, Asmaniac, for joining me again. I can't look for more, man.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I love talking about films. So, yeah.
And then to all out there too, Asmaniac isn't just somebody that, you know, I just asked to be on here. We're buddies, we're friends. So this is we've got rapport. That's why we decided to start doing this. So tell them where everybody can find you though, brother.
All right. Well, I'm on YouTube as well. So it's under the name Asmaniac. I do a little bit of everything. Just crazy stuff, really. I mean, you've seen a lot of my videos, Bobby. How would you describe my videos?
Man, you like to make fun of current events. And even though sometimes there might be a political video here and there, you're not trying to be political. You're just trying to be funny with whatever. So you've got
I don't care about anything.
Yeah, you got movie stuff. You're just making fun of funny stuff. That's all you do. And you do like the fake deleted scenes and all that. Quizzes. A lot of your quizzes are a nice way for me to pass the time sometimes. Get my brain working while I'm trying to get excited to edit or something, you know. But yeah, he's hilarious though, and I definitely dig your stuff. It's funny. Well, guys, thank y'all again though for joining in. Definitely look for my other videos. Look for my reviews on my channel. Check them all out. They're all edited and nice and tight and everything like that. And also, if you weren't able to tune into the show today and comment, send me some stuff over to BrassReelBobby@gmail.com. I'll be happy to answer all that stuff and get involved with the community. I ain't stopping. I'm keeping going every day. So, hey, we'll talk to y'all soon, guys, and love y'all with all my heart. Have a great day, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.